If you hear a bunch of gunshots in the background, it's squirrel camp this weekend over at the neighbor's property. So we're going to stop by this evening and see how many squirrels they got.
Yeah, we've been seeing them when we drove to town and back today on the trails, all the kids out there with their guns and their dads, and it's fun.
So we're up at the cabin this weekend, and it's actually been a month and a half since we did our last Q&A, and we posted on Instagram and Facebook. If you've got questions, we'll try to answer your questions while we're up here. Just a fun, easy video for us to do.
Yeah, and they're
still
fun.
Relaxing, yeah. And it was funny because we talked about in our last video how we don't do live streams anymore. And people actually responded, quite a few people, that they like the Q&As over live streams anyway, because it's not as busy and they get to know us a little bit better. So we are going to try to get through as many of your questions as we can.
We're going to cruise through them.
Yeah, we're going to do them fast. We'll try not to elaborate too much because we can get talky.
Yeah, and no rehearsing this time.
Nope, no rehearsing. So I've got Instagram pulled up. He's got Facebook pulled up, and we'll try to just go back and forth and just let you know how I'm doing it. I'm going through, and the ones that have the most likes, like thumbs up on those questions, I'm taking those first. Okay. All right. So this was my favorite one that came in all weekend long. And it was from Country Girl 5315. If something happened and you had to choose between the homestead and the cabin, where would you choose to live?
Oh, yeah.
I asked him that when it came in. I was like, that is so hard. Because my first instinct was to ask, well, what happened?
It would depend.
Yeah, very much so. But the initial reaction is, as much as we love the cabin, it's very limited to what we can do here, the way it's set up right now. It would be very difficult to survive. So if it was like a survival situation, sure, we could pack up all of our canned goods and move here, and we could get some infrastructure up and running. But we love our homestead equally. And it used to be when, if you haven't caught this story, it used to be when we lived in our suburban home, this was a retreat. Now it's like we live at two retreats.
Yeah.
So it's not like we ever feel like we have to get away for sanity reasons. Sometimes a little bit, but I love them both equally. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I could think it just ultimately depends.
Depends on what happens.
Yep.
I'm not going in the same order you are. I'm just going to go down the list.
Okay.
Bonnie, likes our stove that we have at home. What brand is it? It looks like it's gas. Did you have to special order it? I think it's a Samsung, and we just got it at the local hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to special order it at all, but we did have to run a gas line for it because we only had a setup in our homestead for electric stove, and we were like, nope, we want gas. So we went through the trouble and we ran a new gas line for it, put the stove in. It was pretty easy. My dad's a gas man. So
yeah, he retired from the local gas company.
He was able to come and help us out.
We know a guy for that.
Yeah. Oh, and she also has dash hounds.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. So that's a good segue. I don't know where Rue went. Come here, Rue. Come here. Well, why don't you introduce Mika? Lots of people want to meet our dogs formally.
So this is Mika.
And she's 5 years old.
5. And she's a dapple dash hound.
And this is Rue. Rue is 6. Oh, and he loves the cabin so much, but he just picks up every ounce of the woods in his fur. He's long-haired, and it is impossible to keep him unmatted when we bring him to the woods.
Yeah.
But he has one blue eye and one brown eye. I don't know if you guys can see that. He is the protector, and she is a very nervous, anxious dog. Right now, she's terrified. Like, why am I on show?
Yeah.
You guys are doing something. So Dachshunds would have never been my choice dog. I'll just say that. I like big dogs. Todd has a fond memory from his childhood of his grandfather and grandmother always having Dachshunds that they could travel with. And the dog's name was Penny?
Tina.
Right? Tina,
yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure Todd got his little wish dog from all of his childhood memories. All right, next one from Instagram. Okay, this one. Top thing you buy at the store that's a staple in the house, snacks or something for dinner. And what's your favorite recipe to make so far? This is from the Dear Lord. I guess that's how you pronounce it. So top thing to buy at the store that's a staple in the house. And we talked about this last night. And
Staple things, we buy butter,
cheese,
milk,
your Doritos,
Doritos, salami, yeah.
So let's leave it at that. Those are our, if we go to the store
Right.
every single week, and some weeks we don't even buy milk, to be honest with you. It would be butter, cheese, Doritos, and salami.
Lunch meat. We go through a lot of lunch meat.
Yeah, but we don't always buy it.
Right.
It's not a staple.
Okay.
There's lots of times that we go without lunch meat in the house. So Todd has salami every single morning just about for breakfast.
I do.
And we love our cheese, and we do not make our own cheese and butter. And the follow-up part of that question, what's our favorite recipe to make? And this came out in other types of topics, like what's your favorite meal that you like to cook from your pantry? And we talked about that a lot, and we really don't have a favorite. We love diversity in what we eat. And I said if I had to pick a favorite that I cook from food that we've grown on the farm, for me it would be my chicken pot pie. And for you it would probably be like smoked pork butt or something like that.
Yeah, I like my meat.
Yeah.
I like our bacon.
Yeah,
our bacon from our pigs was awesome.
We love our bacon.
Deborah, how many years have you gardened?
So 2016 at our suburban homestead was our first ever garden. We had tried to container garden once before that, years before that. But 2016 was our first garden, and somebody else on Instagram leads into that kind of question, like, so how did you start? Did you start big or did you start small? And we started with just the 2 raised beds there. When we moved into our homestead, we added 6 more raised beds, and then eventually we added 2 in-ground beds, then 4 in-ground beds. So, and then that's how I did it. I just slowly added over the last 5 years. Is that 5 years, 4 years, something like that? And I found my cap, right? I remember coming to you and I said,
Yeah.
I'm at my limit. I can't manage a bigger garden than this. This is all I can do. From, just managing the weeds, managing the plantings, and managing the harvest. That's as big as I want to be.
Good.
Okay, my turn again.
Yeah.
What is something on your homestead wish list? And this is from Reefer Guy. And I was like, you don't know? So it makes me wonder how closely he follows our YouTube channel. But I feel like a lot of you guys already know, surely. So I'll say 2 things, infrastructure and other stuff. And I'll just answer mine and you can answer yours.
Okay.
Hopefully they're the same thing. Mine is a cow and a pond.
A barn and a pond.
A barn and a pond. So we'll probably have all 3 of those things eventually someday.
Gwen asked, when will you be breeding your goats?
Oh, yep. Got lots of questions about goats, and it was the only true question we got from our last Q&A video about kind of the purpose of our goats. Are they pets versus do we have meat, dairy, and are we going to breed them? So I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm scared to death of breeding my goats. I'm anxious about it, nervous about it. And what's kept me from doing it up until this year was working off the farm, not being there if something happened. And I remember reaching out to Rose at Wholesome Roots and explaining my anxiety and nervousness and was it founded? And she said, of course it's founded, but you should be okay. You should go into it confidently. So this year has been a lot of, if I don't breed them this year, I need to just go ahead and sell them. So it was a selling versus breeding. And now that we're working from home, I think I can do it. It's just honestly, guys, getting over that nerve-wracking, anxious feeling that I have that something's going to go wrong. I'm not going to be able to help them properly. And I don't have like a next door neighbor that is experienced goat raiser that I can just call and come and help. So yeah, I think I'm going to do it. And if we did it, somebody asked, would we rent a buck or buy a buck or whatever? We would borrow a buck.
Very good. Cheryl asked the question, do you have a good recipe for Mexican carrots?
No.
We were like, what's Mexican carrots? So, no, we don't really have a recipe for that. We're not really... Oh, carrots with jalapenos, onions, and a few spices.
Nope, never. Never made them in my life.
Okay.
I liked this one. This was a fun one. How has officially becoming empty nesters changed how you homestead?
How we homestead?
Yep.
Well, we just became empty nesters, and it's like the end of gardening season
Yeah.
and the start of fall, winter season, so...
So I think I told him, this came up briefly when we were talking about our getting the coop ready, the winter coop. And I said, honestly, we probably only need a couple chickens now that it's just you and I. Like, we don't probably need as big of a laying flock. And I asked myself when I saw this question, will I always garden the same, like grow the same amount of food? And I thought, I think I will. I think I'll always grow as if I had to provide for my entire family just because I enjoy doing that. When the kids come over, they almost always leave with a bag full, a box full of canned goods.
Yeah.
And they're really excited about it. Like, it was Nick's birthday the other day, and my gift to him was a big old box full of Mom's canned food. And he was like, "You're giving me some of your chicken?" He was so excited.
Uh-huh.
And I sent Cam and Claire home often a couple boxes of canned goods, and she sent me a cute little picture like, I have a mini Rachel's pantry.
Ooh, it's trying to burn me again. The little grocery store in town. Excuse me. They have their own little donut factory. Mm-hmm. And they have really good donuts. And the last time we were here, we bought, was it apple fritter? Blueberry fritter apple. And we wrapped it in foil and put it on the fire and ate it. It was so good. When we were driving up this weekend, we're like, yeah, we need to get another one of those donuts.
Yeah. So we got cherry and apple this time, and we wrap it in foil and cook it until it's nice and hot and crispy.
This person, Jen was asking, where is our cabin? Our cabin is about an hour north of Grand Rapids, Manistee National Forest.
Have you always been on the same property? And is it a hope that you gain more independence? As you gain more independence, you'll be able to retire early. And then somebody also asked, how far out are we from retirement? And is our goal to be really self-sufficient for retirement, or to turn our homestead into a business as part of our retirement plan? So that kind of all goes together.
That's a big question.
Yeah. So I think I can sum it up. We've been on our property since 2017. March was when we closed on the farm. So no, we've not always been there. Is it our goal to retire early because of self-sufficiency gained on the farm? Not necessarily. our goal to retire early was because we lived our life frugally, we paid off our debt early, and we saved while we were young and working. So that's going to be what allows us to retire early, and it is very much our goal to retire within the next 10 years, I would say.
And we work hard
Yeah.
at our normal day jobs.
Yeah.
Especially when we were younger, we worked a lot of overtime.
Yeah.
So
we've put a lot away in our 401ks, pensions, things like that, and just making sure that we're at a secure place before we do that. And then the other part of that question was, would we ever, as part of our retirement plan, look to turn our homestead into a business model? And I don't think it's anything that we necessarily is something that we talk about all the time and is a goal. If it happens, it would be an aside, that something that just...
yeah, and it's not like we could like scale up to the point where we could sell produce and things like that. If anything, over time, YouTube will help us get there maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, the extra income from YouTube, if we keep doing it for long enough.
Yeah, it's just the instability on YouTube that makes us nervous.
Yeah, so that's the big problem with it.
So hopefully that answered your question well enough on that one.
I think I have one more. Facebook didn't have as many. My question is, do you have or have you ever dehydrated ground beef or turkey?
Never.
Nope.
We've made like beef jerky before.
Yeah, I've done beef jerky, but not in my dehydrator. I did it in our smoker, our electric smoker, and made beef jerky in there quite a few times. Wow, we're really smoking these guys out. We're gonna move the camera around again.
Oh, what happened with the Jeep?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
The Jeep is right at this very moment. It is on a trailer hooked up to the back of my truck in the driveway. And so the video that you'll see probably next after this one is us taking the Jeep home.
Yes,
going through the process of getting it loaded on the trailer, getting it started. This is the weekend to bring the Jeep home.
The whole purpose of the trip to the cabin this weekend was to get the Jeep.
Yep. So more Jeep videos to come.
Yes. Oh, I liked this one too. This was a really fair question, I think. And it was something that I thought of often when I first got into homesteading. When did you finally get to the point where most of your food came from your property? And I would say for us, that was probably year 2 when we raised our pigs.
Right.
And we probably, because the first year we raised ducks, chickens, and turkeys, but we didn't have any red meat. And when we filled our first freezer with enough red meat for the year, and we had bought also a quarter cow that year, we had all of our chicken, the pantry was stocked, and that was probably the first, so 2 years into homesteading full time that we, and I call it full time because even though we work, I feel like we homestead full time as well. That we were, I felt very comfortable self-sufficiently wise producing our own food.
I feel bad I don't have any more questions.
No, that's okay. I'll ask you the next one. You can answer it.
Okay.
Do y'all like to travel besides to the cabin?
We do. It's just hard for us. Hard for me.
I go wherever I want to go. I've been to Hawaii 3 times. I went to Charleston. It's not as easy, for whatever reason, for Todd to pick up and go. I can just pick up and go.
Yep. So, yeah, I would say it's hard for me.
Yeah. Like he thinks about, so I'm going to just share an example because you guys love getting to know our relationship. This fall, we had planned to go to Yosemite. It was going to be our very first big trip. as a couple together, alone without the kids. We're finally empty nesters. We're going to fly into San Francisco, spend a couple nights there, Yosemite for 7 days, and then leave out of San Francisco after a couple more nights. And it was it was all planned out, and then COVID happened, right? So Yosemite's shut a lot of stuff down, and I thought, if we're going to spend that kind of money on a big trip, I don't want the whole thing with mask and like not being able to go certain places. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do. And so I asked him, instead, do you want to drive out to Utah and we can do like Bryce Canyon and all the beautiful parks out there. My sister lives in Provo. We could go up to Salt Lake. And what was your response? Because we could drive, right? We wouldn't have to fly. We wouldn't have
Right. I have no interest in flying right now. Mm-hmm. My response was, if we do something like that, we should rent a car. Like a minivan or something like we did when we drove to Oregon.
Yeah.
Because then we don't have to worry about vehicles breaking down, wear and tear on our own vehicle, that type of thing. So I'm always the one that worries about all the stuff that can happen. Like our car could break down. What are we going to do with our dogs? Who's going to watch the farm animals for us?
I don't worry about anything like that. I just, let's go and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what we have roadside assistance for. So I have this long, long bucket list of our retirement travel plans. And I'm like, you're going to have to figure this out and get over it because we're going places. I agree.
Sorry.
Pretty sure there's not that many squirrels in a tree.
There's not much left of them.
Yeah. Okay, so this one has come up frequently, oddly, and I find it funny that you guys are interested in it. But where did we meet?
And we met at work.
We did. And I work where he works back and forth a few times in my career. And the first time I worked there, I can remember having lunch. There was like a young, kind of what we'd call young people then, sat together at a lunch table. And the girlfriend that I worked with was very outgoing. I'm not. So I just went with her. So I remember meeting him then, but didn't think much of it. Several years later, I go back to work there. Mm-hmm. And I can remember riding down the elevator with a girlfriend saying, I think he's kind of cute, but he's so not my type. And the whole inside joke between us was, I said at that time, I'll never date a man whose thighs are thinner than mine. But lo and behold.
Yeah. And I think when you had come back, me and all of my friends, we were all still going to the cafeteria every day, having lunch together. So when you guys came back, you just joined us and
Yep.
we developed a friendship over that.
Mm-hmm. I tell people, I remember what attracted me to him more than a physical appearance was the way he talked about his boys and how active he was in his sons' lives. And I was just like, oh, gosh, it's precious. So I think that's it. No, this is a good one. We can end with this one.
Okay.
What is one fruit or vegetable you'll never grow again? Can you answer that, or do I need to answer it?
First thing that came in my head was cauliflower because I don't like cauliflower, but
Yeah.
I'm not the grower. You are.
Yeah, I'd say radishes.
Radishes?
Remember, we grew all those I grew radishes because sometimes as a beginner gardener, you just want success. And radishes is a crop that you just can't fail on. And I knew I didn't like radishes, but I thought, okay, Rachel, you're an adult. You can figure this out. You can learn to like radishes. So I grew all these radishes, and I still hated them. So I will never grow radishes again.
And you put them in like some kind of liquid solution in a jar
Yeah.
in the fridge.
Yeah.
And then it got moved to the back of the fridge.
Yes, and it sat
For like
there.
6 months, and then we finally pulled it out one day. Like, yeah, let's not grow radishes anymore.
And a fruit, I can't say that there's a fruit. I mean, I struggle growing watermelons, but I'll keep trying. I will always try.
You know your watermelon to grow on the green stalk? I caught Rue the other day. He had one. He ripped it off the vine and was on the deck eating it.
Are you serious? That little squirt. So I'll always try to grow them. I haven't figured out how to do it successfully up here, but I mean, I love fruit, so there isn't anything I wouldn't try to grow.
Yeah, we like all fruits.
Yeah. I mean, actually, one of the things I mentioned to him was I'd like to maybe consider planting a proper grapevine because I think that would be awesome. And then I could maybe one day make my own wine.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for coming on the cabin edition of You've Got Questions and We've Got Answers. And thanks for participating on both Instagram and Facebook. It was a lot of fun just to see them coming in and was like, oh, that's a good one.
Started conversations just
Yeah.
between me and you.
Yeah. So hopefully you got to know us a little bit better. We try to do these once a month. Last couple months have been a little bit busy with wedding and harvest season and everything, but we'll hope to bring you another one here in the next month. So leave your next questions below. If you had a question and you didn't get time to put yours in or we didn't answer it well enough, go ahead and leave a follow-up question down below and we'll make sure to include it next time.
Sounds good.
Oh, it's donut time.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't burn.
I know. Stay tuned and we'll show you here at the end.
No. This Bristol has that sugar coating.
There's certain things that you can't control. Apple.